Okay, here we are live at the Grosso University Closers Camp. We're having a world-class training event, and I have the honor and privilege of being joined by some of the brightest minds of the home improvement industry. And we're doing the Profits or Sanity Podcast live right here at the Monona Terrace in Madison, Wisconsin. And I couldn't think of anybody better to have as my first guest today than my good friend Chad Howman, who's the CEO and founder of Bath R Us and Window City Pros, somebody that's built an absolute powerhouse organization in as little as 5 years. So, Chad, what is Window City Pros and Bath R Us combined? What are you basing this year?
$34 million.
$34 million. Just chump change, right? $34 million. But what I admire about Chad is not just his ability to grow and scale by way of volume, but this guy is an absolute master when it comes to owning your numbers, to own your business, and running a profitable business, which, again, the Profits or Sanity Podcast has sweet music to our ears. So, Chad, can you just talk about Closers Camp and the presentation you just got done sharing? What was the big message that you share with our audience today?
The big message is obviously profit. I think with profit comes value, and I think you got to start with your first job. You got to make profit. You got to know exactly what your job cost is going to be for material, labor, sales commission, trucks, cost of your trucks. We like to run at a 52% gross margin after all that's beautiful.
It's a beautiful number.
It's a great number. It allows us then to be able to scale the business without spending more money on marketing. We run very lean. We like to have our OpEx at around a 10% every, which gives us about 25% to work with. Yeah, why leads.
So that I want to talk about that because there's a lot of people that would hear like a 25% cost of marketing that would terrify them. But you're able to not only lean into that, but actually embrace it. So you can get a little bit more aggressive with how you're marketing and advertising, and you know that your business is running a lot profitable enough to be able to tolerate that.
Yeah, that's correct. And the beautiful part is that halfway through the month, when we're already hitting our 10% on our OpEx, that actually gives us another 10% to invest in marketing. Because when the leads are good buys, you got to buy us because you never know when they're actually going to can out. We brought a data analyst in. I couldn't believe how much business from leads that we bought in February that we'd be selling in August and September that year.
Why do you think it's important that owners really need to start honing that in and really dial it, okay, what do I want to specialize in and really be the expert in? Because I personally feel that really having a streamlined, simplified menu and being the best you possibly can be at that one or two things is better than trying to do everything and offer anything under the sun. Can you speak to that briefly, why that matters?
Yeah, so there's multiple reasons that it matters. One, it takes a long time to train the sales representative, the 11-step selling system. Right along, have to teach them all the different products. And then how do they price it out? And I think that's where companies start selling. They think that, they sell tile flooring. Well, tile has all kinds of different grades, right? And so the next thing you know, they're no longer selling at that 52% GP. And then ordering comes to problems. It's misorder things because you're not great at doing just 4 or 5 things. You got people that don't, they may write down the wrong codes. It's hard to check the job when it's first brought in, from the production team to see if it's sold properly. So it just really streamlining it was the best decision I ever made. And I see a lot of big companies in the industry starting to follow suit with me. So
yeah, and that's something that, when I was at Mad City, that Nathan Richmond, the president, he was just so hell-bent on let's just be the best at one or two things and just get laser focused on that. And he built a $500 million company offering 3 different products, but they're all like simple 1-2 day installs, good margins. The customers love them. And that's the thing. You got to understand, like, the customers will absolutely love them, but you still got to figure out a way I can streamline the different services that I offer. Because a lot of companies will ask me, like, how can I get my team trained to do a one-call close? Like, well, the first thing you got to do is simplify your menu. Yes. You can't do a one-call close when you got a billion different options, right? So we got to streamline our menu and figure out what exactly we want to specialize in. Now you're in a position where your salespeople can execute a one-call close successfully.
Well, and it really helps the homeowner make decisions at home, right? I mean, if you can't get past the design, how do you even get to the price and or the close?
It's funny. I had this conversation with owners. I wanted to get your opinion on this, but I'll have owners that, let's just say in roofing, they'll be doing GAF and Certainty and Owens Corning and Atlas and Malarkey. They literally have every manufacturer. And I said, let me ask you a question. You're the owner of your business. You know what all these products are. If you could align yourself with one roofing system, one manufacturer, one roofing system on your house, and you want it to be the last roof you ever put on your house, what would that look like? and I kind of go through this exercise. They start designing their dream roof. I'm like, okay, so that would be the one asphalt roofing system you'd want in your home. True. So let's design a sales system that speaks to that, because that's what every one of your customers deserves to have as well. Don't you agree? Right. And then figure out a way to do it profitably. And that's where the sales system comes in. But it's impossible to do it properly if you got a billion different options and everyone has analysis paralysis. It's like, you got to streamline your system and your offering. Now, one thing I talk about, there's a lot of companies that are really hell bent on trying to find top performers, whether it be a salesperson, whether it be a marketer, whether it be an installer. And one thing I really admire about what you're doing is you're creating systems to train and groom people into these professional roles, especially like in the back end of the business. You're literally creating your own labor force. So can you just talk briefly about what you've done, what you've created with your apprenticeship programs, and how that's really helped with your scalability?
Absolutely. So, when I got in the industry, it was 1 man, 1 day installs. And, I just thought, you're working this guy to death. Let's get him some help. And then I'm like, why can't this guy constantly be training the next person? Because if your goal is to constantly keep growing, every aspect needs to grow. And I think what makes that easy to, really want to invest in your company is that you got to run your business the right way. You got to be looking at your profits based off of installation, not running off of sales.
Yeah.
So, every time that, we start growing in our sales department, all we have to do is go to the labor department and say, okay, who's ready to graduate? And we invest in trucks and tools and hire more apprentices. And now we're installing, we're growing almost 100% this year. And already in July, we're already catching.
So where do you have the best success finding these individuals to enter into this apprenticeship program? Where's the best place to start with these? What type of person are you looking for? What's the experience level? Are they coming out of high school, college? They coming from the trades, tech schools? What do you see?
We see a little bit of everything. Our biggest problem, our best is that because we pay so well and we're not, we allowing the guys to work what I call normally versus constantly working on the depth. We actually get a lot of referrals. I mean, we have friends, family members that are all in it, and the apprenticeship program is designed to where you can hire any one of those guys right out of school, people that have, industrial experience. And the key is just making sure that you're putting them where they need to be paid at. They know what they have to learn, over the next 3 months. And then they're the ones coming to you saying, hey, I've learned this. Now I'm ready for that next raise.
Yeah. How long does it take to spool up an installer? Let's just say like the 1 day bash. Someone comes in with little to no experience. They begin, assisting on the job, doing the apprenticeship program. How long before they branch off and start running their own jobs?
It's a little different for everybody, but we'd like to get everybody done within a year. We'd like to have everybody graduated within that year's time if they're pretty fresh, right? We get guys that graduate in 90 days. We get guys that graduate in 6 months. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it, right? Because this industry is always high in, right? When you were running Mad City sales department, you didn't have $14 million months every month, right? Sometimes you had 18 million, sometimes 12 million.
Yeah. Sometimes the whole team together, shit's the better. They're performing so unconscious level. They're like out of control, like in a good way.
When it comes to installation, you gotta figure out how to balance that across the board. And the only way to do it is to continue to figure out how much are you going to sell for the year, and then say, okay, this is what I'm going to start every month, and then the installations catch whenever you have a down month in selling.
Right, that's good. Yeah, because one thing I really have been blown away by you, because I haven't seen this with really any other companies, is you figured out a way to not only grow exponentially in sales, but ensure that your production team, your installation team, the back end of your business keeps up. And I was actually just talking with a company earlier where the sales are rocking and rolling, but production is buried up to their eyeballs, months and months behind. So, like, if someone finds themselves in that situation, would it be found to be the best way to really start digging themselves out and start getting some traction? Because they don't necessarily want to stop selling, but they got to figure out a way for production to gradually start climbing back and get back on track.
Well, as long as they have, an onboarding process, like everything's system in this business, right? Like, sales are system, face-to-face marketing system. If you document your production, that should be a system. And then you can obviously hire, and, the biggest thing is you got to get started. Like, I look at this industry as a wheel of fortune, right? Starts with a lead, turns to appointment, then a sell, then production, then OpEx. Then you need more leads because you want to keep growing, right? You can just follow your route. And I think that if you can't do it, then you need to hire somebody that can do it for you.
Yeah. So you've done some training and coaching with Grosso University. You've helped numerous of our clients help grow and scale their business, help streamline operations. I guess, what do you feel allowed you to put your faith in Grosso University, and kind of what do you see as being the big difference between, our training, our systems, what we bring to the table versus some of the other training groups that might be out there? I guess, what do you feel was aligned enough with your beliefs where you're like, you know what, I could see working with these guys and really helping fulfill a need that's never talked about, which is helping people streamline their operations,
I think the biggest thing for me actually was that it just felt like you guys cared more. Like you go to other seminars and all they care about is filling the seats.
Yeah. It's a sellathon the whole time.
That's right. That's right.
I hate that, by the way.
And no matter what company comes to you with a problem, you guys will try to find a solution for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that goes a long way in this industry.
Yeah, and I really, truly try to align myself with not only best-in-class technology sponsor partners, but the brightest minds like yourself that can truly help fulfill a need, because I've attended so many seminars, so many events, and nobody pays any attention. It's all sales and marketing, which we all love sales and marketing, don't get us wrong, but nobody talks, how the hell do you install this stuff? How do you scale the back end of the business? How do you treat your installers and your crews with the same level of respect and loyalty and the bonuses and all this stuff? Like, nobody talks about this, and you really shine a light on that in a big way. And you're obviously an expert on all the pillars of the business, but really helping us bring together full circle. So as you've said, from phone call to install, everywhere in between, we have the systems and processes in place to grow and scale profitably, which is really what it's all about.
That's right.
If you could share one or two tips and pointers they can start implementing right away to start being more profitable. And obviously owning your numbers is a big thing, start getting the systems in place. But what are some things, whether it's mindset, whether it's, the systems and processes, what would be some tips and pointers you could share in terms of, here's what I would start doing right now to start getting more profitable and taking my business?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is if you're not fully loaded at a 52% GP, then you need to raise your price.
Raise your prices. Yeah.
And, if you're offering all those products, dumb it down.
Yeah.
You gotta make it simple.
So a lot of owners may hear that and they'd be like, well, I don't want to price gouge my customers. So why is it actually doing them a service? You're doing your customers a service by raising your prices.
Yeah. So, I would challenge the, contractor that was scared to raise his prices of how well he takes care of somebody when something messes up.
Yep.
When something goes awry, let's fix it.
Yep.
There's no questions asked. It's never how much the mistake cost us.
Mm-hmm.
Let's learn, let's fix it. Let's make the customer happy. And we're able to do that because we run at a very profitable.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with profit.
No, there's not. Sure. Yeah, Rick Gross always said we don't apologize for being more expensive. We brag about it, because being financially stable is the best way you can serve your customers. Being financially stable enough to take care of them when stuff does go wrong, because inevitably things are going to happen, mistakes are going to be made, projects are going to go south. And do you have enough profitability to be able to withstand those blows financially and treat that customer with the service and respect they need? You can deliver on your promises. This whole warranty, everyone promises the world of warranties, but do you truly have the means to do that on a large scale if necessary, right?
That's right.
Because I'm sure you've experienced this sometimes. Shit hits the fan all at once. You get like 1 month where you get all this extra expenses you don't account for. So you got to be profitable. And this is why, 96% of contractors fail within 3 to 5 years, because they're bidding jobs for cost. Rick always joked about it, said these guys are going into every house and they're saying our prices are so low, we lose money on every job, and they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
So volumes for vanity, profits for sanity, because you are able to provide better installation, better experience, better materials, better service. Overall, treat that customer with a 5-star white glove experience if you are profitable. If you're not, it's going to be very tough for you.
That's right. You're going to be out there fighting with every customer saying, oh, we did it to industry standards. Versus, you didn't.
Yeah.
Fix the problem and move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I just want to congratulate you on all your success.
I really appreciate you having me on today, Dom.
Yeah, I appreciate you being a huge part of the Grosso University Closers Camp here.
Yeah, you guys are doing it right.
Yeah, thank you so much. So again, another amazing episode of the Profitability Podcast. Make sure you stay tuned to all our amazing episodes. And on behalf of Grosso University, volume is for vanity and profit is for
sanity.
Isn't it true? All right, we'll see you on the next one.